sorry it was slightly delayed on when I had in the schedule to start, but yeah, had some minor technical issues to do with my controller, but that's all fixed now, and yeah, we are live. We are playing Civilization VI is the game that I've decided to choose for my Anything Goes. So Anything Goes is just whatever I feel like playing that week, really. And I always feel like playing Civilization 6. This is one of my favourite games of all, and I do tend to play it an awful lot. Whenever I get a chance, whenever I've got an excuse to play something for fun, Civilization is a regular go-to for me because it is endlessly replayable and it is just a high quality strategy game, and that's a genre I really enjoy and don't get to play as much as I probably want to. So, as usual, we'll give people a couple of moments to log in, and if they want to join me and chat as we play, and then we'll get stuck into it. What I've done is I've decided to start a new civilization. I'm playing as the Mongols. This is the very start of the game, so we'll be able to build it up over a couple of weeks, and people can see how the civilization grows and evolves. So the reason that I chose the Mongols to play as, um, or at least on the PlayStation 4, I haven't actually completed a campaign with them yet. They are one of my preferred factions in Civilization. They're military heavy and very horse heavy, as you can probably guess. You know, cavalry units tend to benefit from playing as the Mongols, and it's a fun challenge. I don't tend to play Civilization with a militaristic bent. I prefer to get my victories through generally the cultural approach. But in this case, when you play as the Mongols, you're kind of forced to be a bit more aggressive just for the benefits that the faction gets. So it's a playing as the Mongols is a nice way of forcing me to try something different, I guess, and take a different strategic approach to victory. So that's why I've chosen them. I'm playing on a kind of a mid-tier difficulty. I think I'm playing on Prince, which is nothing too unmanageable. In saying that, I'll probably screw up badly and ruin this campaign because, of course, you do that when you're broadcasting something. You always screw up. So I'll probably do that, but for most people, once you play Civilization a couple of times, you shouldn't struggle too much with this level of difficulty. So just give people another couple of moments to log in while I scroll around and show you the basics. So I've got the settler group, which will set my first city down, and then I've also got one unit of warriors to wander around with and start to explore. Once, like I said, I'll give people one moment more to log in, and then I'll start to play. It is Sunday, so I don't expect too many people to be around. People have got better things to do than hang out on a stream of a strategy game, but it might just be me talking into the void this time around, but that'll be cool. That'll be fine. I can chat for an hour about a video game. Okie dokie, let's get going, I guess. Okay, so I generally like to set up a city close to next to the ocean in the early starts, so I will do that here. What I might do is just start by moving the warriors around a bit. let's get them to go this way. So, if you haven't played Civilization, this stream, I'll make sure that this stream gives you some hints and tips and some explanation about what's going on as we play along. So settlers are the group that create your cities, which are pretty important for the growth of your civilization. When you select your settlers, you're given a couple of different icons which show the kind of the recommended spots to set up these cities. Now, because I'm playing the most recent expansion, later down the track you do need to consider global warming and other such natural disasters as being a bit of a concern. And that means if you place your cities next to rivers and oceans, you need to deal with the rising sea levels and flooding. I think I'm going to leave my city here, actually. There's not a whole lot of greenery around, there's not many forests and stuff, which is a bit of a concern, but the ocean has good resources there, turtles and fish, which I'll be able to exploit later down the track, and there's plenty of kind of, it looks like good farmland that I can set up farms and help feed my people. So I'll just set up the town here, I think. So you get a little era score, which pops up just when you've achieved major things within the timeline. Setting up your first city is a pretty major thing for your civilization. So, and that's my city. So once you jump into the city, I can. These are all these icons down the bottom right hand corner of the screen, as you can see, and I can change the city's production, which is important. What do I want to build? I can build a monument at the moment, which adds to my culture, or more importantly at this point in time is building military units, because you need to explore and possibly fight some kind of weak barbarians. Now, in terms of my strategy, scouts, I never use scouts that much. They have a good movement across the screen, but they're pretty much useless beyond that. And I don't mind exploring at a slower rate. I never have. Slingers, which are also recommended for some reason, I don't find them particularly useful either. They have a ranged attack, which is pretty weak, unfortunately. I think warriors are the way to go at this point in time, very early on, so I'll build a set of warriors. And science. So with science, you've got all these different things that you can research as your civilization grows, and those things, each time you research something, you get access to new buildings, new units, and your civilization modernizes. These are the very earliest technologies that you can research. I always go with pottery because pottery is really useful for improving the food health of your culture. So pottery. Any other alerts? So these are the two alerts. We've discovered a new continent because, yeah, early stage of the game, and I've set up a city near a floodable river, which is, it's not a problem right now. It will be down the track, but I can build dams and things, and those dams will help me deal with those floods. Okay, get rid of those alerts, and end of the turn. Okay, so I can send my soldiers, my warriors, to explore a bit further. We can see some new parts of the map now. Oh, that's handy. So that's a little helpful tribe. They're good people. You move your soldiers over those and they will find something. It might be loot, it might be a new... there's a whole bunch of different things that you can get from those villages. And that's it. So in the early stages of civilization, turns go by pretty quickly because you haven't got too much to worry about. There's not too many people to move around, there's not too many warriors to move around, you haven't made contact with any other civilizations, so you don't need to deal with diplomacy or fighting off their forces. Here we go. What do we get? Okay, so I got a big boost towards mysticism, which is a cultural development, which is pretty handy down the track because, yeah, those things can take time. Okay, keep exploring. Just keep going one direction as long as you can. See, I've reached the coast, so I've done a good job with exploring so far. There's a banana grove there and also a tobacco grove, so this is a very lush bit of land. I'll need to consider moving my civilization up this way at some point. There's some crabs there, so very well endowed with natural resources, this part of the map. Okay. So barbarians are approaching, but it's only a scout, so I don't need to worry too much about them. But that does mean that somewhere down here there will be a barbarian fortress, which I will need to deal with because otherwise they'll start to send soldiers. Oh, okay, so I've met another city. This is not a civilization. This is what they call city-states, which are independent small cities. They grow very slowly. You can capture and conquer them and bring them into your civilization if you want, but there are actual benefits to just making friends with them and being the most influential major civilization on that city-state. So that's handy to have. Met them nice and early because, amongst other things, the enemy civilizations don't tend to attack them, and having that as a ally of sorts in the north does give me a buffer, lets me expand into this part of the map without having to worry about more aggressive civilizations just setting up a bunch of towns here down the track, if there is another civilization close by. Okay. So you can, if you're friendly with them, you can go into their territory. Territories are marked out by the little kind of dotted line around the cities. They grow as the cities grow. If you're not allies, or if you don't have a good relationship with the civilization in question, then you can't send your units into them without starting a war. But at the moment, that's fine. I can do that. So I've still got 5 turns to go before I have those warriors come. The warriors that I'm building, so still not much else I can do other than just pass the turns by. I wanted to cut through the city because I wanted to explore that way anyway. So well, that's not helpful. A tornado just came hurtling through my city. That's Thankfully the tornado was already dangerous. Sorry, it was already weak, so I didn't lose anything as a result. But a natural disaster within the first 10 turns is portentous. Let's put it that way. Okay. Anyway.
Then weave a web of the mystic measure from the depths of the sky and the ends of the earth. Come, swift spirits of might and of pleasure, fill the dance and the music of mirth.
So that's me just discovering a new natural wonder. This game has a number of them that you'll find as you wander around the map, and that's quite cool. As a result of being the first civilization to discover that, not including obviously the city-states because they don't count as civilizations, I got a boost to my astrology discovery, which was great. And there's another city-state there, so I now have discovered two city-states just sitting out here on the ocean. So this area up here looks like it's going to be any other civilizations, rival civilizations that hang out around here will be way off the map and not much of a concern for me for quite a while, which is good. I do prefer in the early stages of civilization to have a bit of a gap, a bit of distance between me and my rival civilizations. So we'll go this way now. Okay, continue to wander around. It is about to get more interesting because I am just seconds away. I will have a second unit of warriors in a moment, which is at least something. I'll be moving around two soldiers. Oh, so I've met my first rival civilization. The Spanish are in this game. At the start of the game, I set it up so that they were all random, so I'd be surprised about which ones I would run into, who I'd have to deal with. Each civilization has its own personality. Some are more aggressive, some are more peaceful. The Spanish are quite religious, so I have to deal with a bunch of religious nutters now, which is cool, I guess. Um, but at this stage, it's better to make friendly with them, so I'll invite them to my nearest city, and we'll start the diplomacy off. Now, where were they? The map isn't telling me. Whoops. So because I've met a new civilization, I get a boost to my writing tech development, which makes sense. You need writing to be diplomatic. I imagine the Spanish are probably around here somewhere. Okay, let's go here. And there we go. I built my second bunch of warriors, which is great. I'll go and deal with the barbarians with this group. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. So, as I mentioned, as your city grows, the borders of it grow. It started out with just a ring around the city. Now it's expanded out to also encompass the turtles, which I can't make use of as a resource yet, but it's important for my city to capture that because those are a very valuable resource indeed. Okay, so the buildings haven't changed because I haven't developed any new technology since. Things are taking a bit longer now because production becomes more inefficient. What I might do is I might actually jump in and start to build the monument. So buildings actually all... hello, I've got somebody on the... Hello, Dark Assassin. I'm playing as the Mongols. So, as I mentioned at the start of the video to nobody, but as an introduction for people that listen back afterwards, I haven't actually played as the Mongols with the PS4 version of Civilization yet. And I do enjoy them because they do force you to be a little bit more militaristic in terms of strategy and go for a military victory, and I generally don't play that way, so this is always a fun, different challenge for me. And yeah, I generally play as the Mongols in pretty much every every Civilization game. They've been there since the start. Okay, so I don't think I have anything else to do this turn. Move things on. Yep.
I thought clay must
And I
needs
finally
be
finished my first research. I have pottery now, which is good. Pottery lets me build granaries, which are really useful for both increasing the size of my cities and feeding the people. And it gives me the first wonder that I can build, which I've never built, I don't think. The Great Buff. There's always some other civilization that gets there before me. Probably won't get it this time either. It's not within my strategy. Um, so for the next science advancement, I might as well go for one that was boosted because of some of the things that my civilization has achieved so far. I'll go with writing. Writing is always a handy one. Ah, another friendly tribe, that's great. And in that case, the party of the friendly tribe improved the experience of my warriors, which is going to be useful when they start to deal with the barbarians, which are just there. Um, is that the barbarians or is that another tribe? Hang on. No, that's a that's a city-state. I don't want to be dealing with those. They must have dealt with the barbarians for me then. But your units gain experience as they fight in battles, and as they get more experience, they are obviously more effective. That's offset slightly, I guess, by the fact that as your civilization develops, you get much more powerful units. So you don't want to focus too much on just leveling up units and then relying on those to do battle. But while they are active, then it's quite useful to be able to give them experience levels. So that's pre-Slav. Okay, these guys will continue to move east, and I'll send these guys east as well since the water's on the other side. So we'll cut through. I think I might be down towards the south of the map. That looks like tundra to me. Once you get to the tundra, it means you're basically at the south or the north of the map, and it's beyond that. There's not much. Once you reach the tundra, there's not much value in expanding further because the quality of the land for growing a civilization becomes very low. And yeah, that'll be about the bottom of it. So it looks like I might be one of the southern civilizations, and pre-Slav will be struggling along in the absolute cold through most of the game. Another tribe of friendlies to go buddy up with. might as well cut a little bit further in, because there are still friendly tribes and stuff there. Okay. There's a big storm there, which is great. Can't see it, but there is one. So what do we get from these ones? I got an envoy. Envoys are useful because envoys are the ones that make the city-states like you more. And I'll show you that in a second. I will pull up this so I can assign envoys to any of these civilizations, sorry, city-states, and if I have the most envoys of all the various civilizations in those city-states, they become allies to me, and that gives me various abilities at 1, 3, and 6 number of envoys in there. I will put this envoy in Hattusa, because that's the one at the north, and I want to make friends with them if I can.
It is not wisdom, but authority that makes a law.
Okay, so that's a cultural development rather than a scientific discovery. Um, in here you can assign various policies which again will give you different abilities to your civilization. At the start you only have a very basic government which only allows you a very small number of slots to fill, but as your government options become broader you can have much more complex sets of policies. But for now, let's just urban planning lets me improve the production rate in all my cities, which means that I'll get stuff quicker, which is good, very important at this stage of the game. And I will also give my units a bonus to their combat strength when fighting barbarians, because they're going to be the main enemies that I fight for quite some time yet. Okay, so away we go. That's a money-giving tribe, that's good. I'm going to need money soon enough. I'm not going to send 2 units of warriors to explore the tundra, so I'll send the other ones up north again now. They can make their slow way up there and see if I can find out where the Spanish are. That'd be useful. So I can choose the next cultural development can be either craftsmanship or foreign trade. Foreign trade is the one that really makes a lot more sense, because foreign trade allows you to set up trade routes and that helps you earn a lot more money. I've already got 3 cities that I can trade with thanks to these city-states, and that can bring a lot of resources into my culture pretty quickly. And the Mongols do actually have a strong trade benefits that are unique to them. Every civilization has its own unique skills, and some are more military based, some are more diplomatic based. For example, if you play as the Kiwis, the native New Zealanders, they're very good at the nature side of things, but the Mongols are good at trade and combat. And I've unlocked writing, so I can build libraries now, which is good. It'll help me develop my science quicker. The more science, the faster you develop your science, the more quickly you make these discoveries, which is handy. Hello! Thank you for joining the stream. Civilization. I know you're a strategy fan, so... Yeah, Civ. Civ is a common go-to game for me on Sundays. So whenever I play games for fun sometimes, and Civ is definitely up there. Let's go with mining. It's the next thing I'll build. Next science I'll discover, I mean. and I found yet another city-state. It's worth looking at this new Civ. It's good. Um, from Civ 3 to 5, I didn't play them much either, but Civ 6 really brought me back, in part because it was on the Switch, and that makes it nice and handy and portable. And there aren't too many full 4Xs on the Switch, but also it just is. It's a really good game. The expansions, especially the ones that bring natural disasters and all that into the experience, they're really good. And the range of civilization is really good too. So, highly recommend this one, especially for lapsed Civ fans. I'm being really lucky with the the friendly tribes this time around. Usually I don't find that many of them. Usually I deal with more barbarians and tribes, so I'll take it. So that's what happens when a river floods. Um, the good thing is after a flooding river does a lot of damage, but it also leaves a lot of really fertile soil behind afterwards. So it actually makes for good farmland after, thus proving that sometimes disasters are good for renewal. I don't think I've played Amplitude. I I like the sci-fi one, Stellaris. I've also got that on PS4, and I'll probably stream that at some stage as well because I do really like that one. And that's the end of the Earth. No further I can go there. Looks like I'm going back north. Yeah, and that's I guess I like yeah, this map is proving to be the kind of map I like to play a Civ game on. Sometimes you can start a civilization and then get stuck in a spot that has a lot of rivals right from the outset around you, and it becomes hard to grow. This one, I've got a lot of breathing space, so I can take advantage of that and expand a little bit more slowly, and focus on other things at the early stages. I would like to know where those Spanish are hiding out though. Can't trust the religious nutters. Um, I should nearly have my... Yes, that's good. I'm about to have my monument, which is great. Monument built. So I think the next thing I need to do is build a settler, as the game actually recommends, which is good. I'm right in tune with the ideal strategy. So by building a new settler, I'll be able to go and set up a new city. It'll cost me in the sense that my main city will lose its population a little bit, but it's the only way to expand.
When you find yourself in a hole,
It's
quickly
all
jump
happening.
off.
Okay, so I can now build mines, which is useful. Yes, actually, that's one of the best things about the console version of Civilization. They've worked really hard to make sure that it is very playable on a regular controller. Excuse me, and it really is. I'd say it's every bit as easy playing this with a controller as it would be with a mouse and keyboard. Just very efficient, very clean, very well laid out example of a user interface. Okay, so I need to build or need to research animal husbandry now because I do need the horse abilities because I am the Mongols, and Mongols without horses are Mongols without their greatest strength. Luckily, it's a very primitive technology, so it'll only take a couple of turns to research. Oops. Um, Here we go. I did see that. There we go. There's the Spanish. Now the thing is, how do you modify units? You can level up your units by through experience, and as they level up, um, they become more powerful in different ways. You can choose the skills that they acquire. But your ability to customize units when you're building them isn't there, I don't think. So somebody's already got horses. That'll be the Spanish, I imagine. Yes. Or is that barbarians? I think that's barbarian, isn't it? Okay. Yes, that's barbarians. So there's Madrid. That's the capital of the Spanish civilization, obviously. Um, Different architecture, as you can see, because different civilization. There's a couple of different types of architecture, depending on which civilization you play as, and they seem to be about the same level of development as me at this stage. I should have mentioned that at the start. I am playing the epic length game, so things do happen slower. If you want to play a faster paced game, you can do that, and if you do that, everything happens faster, like you unlock things quicker. Oops. I just got attacked. I did. I got attacked by those damn horse archers. Okay, let's go and deal with that. So as you can see, the prediction is pretty much on my side. Let's deal with them. Let's help out my Spanish buddies from the marauding barbarians, and bang. So in that group there, the Spanish has a settler unit, so it looks like they're going to go and found their second city. That's a win for me.
I am fond of pigs. Dogs look up to us. Cats look down on us. Pigs treat us as equals.
I'm not sure if you can hear it on the stream because I've turned the sound down a bit so the microphone isn't being drowned out, but Sean Bean does all the voice work. Every time you unlock every time you discover a new natural wonder, every time you unlock a new science or make a cultural research, Sean Bean is there to quote various leaders throughout history, which is a really nice touch. He's got a good voice, and it really adds to the quality of the game as such. It's certainly a premium feeling strategy game, and it's got that kind of star power to it. And yeah, Sean Bean is just great. Um, okay, so I can now work with horses, or I can collect horses as a resource. Let's jump on to archery. Archery is a really important military discovery because it gives you access to archers, which, as the name of the science suggests, but archers are really useful if you want to both attack and defend your society. So let's build those. Now, I'm because I'm injured. I'll probably just rest here now. I can let the others around me deal with that barbarian scout. Now, because I set those to rest until healed, I won't be able to move them again until they're full, back to full health. Let's go this way. What was your last message? Yeah, possibly. I don't know how the chat works in. I don't know how the chat works in the streams just yet. So give it another go and split it up over two. Okay, so I've got my settler built now. I've got a choice of a couple of different places. I guess I can put him. The green areas are the areas that they recommend that you build these things because it's fertile soil and offers good growth potential. I do want to make sure I can get that horse that's there. I want to start building, making use of horse resources as quickly as I can. So I will probably just build my city at that spot right there, which is fairly close to my last city, but it's the right thing to do for my civilization. It gives me another city in the north, which is where all the action is anyway. And here I will build a granary because that improves my food resources and my housing. That allows my city to grow because as you can see in the bottom right of the corner there's a little house icon with 2 of 6, 2/6. The 2 is the size of the population, the 6 is the maximum size of the city at this stage. That fills up quite quickly. 6 is not a big town by any means, so I do need things like granaries to increase that number. Sean Bean's been censored. Oh, right, right, yes, the Sean Bean joke. No, he does not. He does not die. He does not die in this one. He's just a voiceover guy. Um, probably wanted a break from it all. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Whatever, Philip. So I pissed Philip off with something. I think the fact that I set settlers out. He doesn't like other civilizations expanding, apparently, which is pretty rich. Oops.
Every nation lives by exchanging.
Okay, so I now have foreign trade, which is great. I can build camels. That's the main thing I wanted, the camels. Um, I don't want to change any of the government policies right now. Okay, so let's first up deal with yet another bunch of barbarian horsemen. Okay, so I will build my city there. Ulaanbaatar, and I will immediately set. I'll get to that in a second, actually. Um, I'll develop mysticism, and in Ulaanbaatar, first thing I will do. What will I do? What will I do? I'm going to build a unit of warriors up front because there are barbarians up there, and that's worrying me. I don't want them to capture my nearly built city. So I just paid for those warriors with gold, which is not the ideal use of gold, I guess, but you got to do what you got to do. And I will set to building a granary straight away. Get that out of the way nice and early. They'll need healing again, so I'll set them to healing. Meanwhile, I'll send these guys over. There we go, because I've defeated enough barbarians now, I get a boost to my bronze working, which is a useful technology down the track for military purposes again. There we go, Spain's already gone heavy in with the religious stuff, so they've founded a pantheon, which means that they are making progress towards religion, organized religion. To be honest, they're not the kind of civilization that you want on your borders, because they tend to, once they start sending missionaries and stuff, they can really mess with your with your own development. So I will have to deal with them sooner rather than later. I'll just fortify those guys in the city. So if the city happens to be attacked by something, it's only a... I've got something in there to defend it. I can always unfortify them if I need them at some stage too.
I shot an arrow into the air. It fell.
Yay, I got my archery. Excellent. Yes, cities do have some militia defense, but it's not particularly strong even against like barbarians. So it's always a good idea to have some military units nearby just to send them over to the city as soon as possible if it does get under attack. So those warriors that I've got over there can defend both my cities nice and easy, and I can rely on the militia or the garrison to protect the other one in the meantime while it takes me to get in the time it takes me to get my warrior unit over to whichever city needs the help. But now that I have archers, I'll be putting archers in each city anyway. They're excellent at defending them. For now, so this warrior is nearly dead, but thankfully he's got enough experience I can level him up, which is going to give him a whole lot of health back. Um, so here's the options. +7 combat strength versus melee and range units, or +10 combat strength when defending against range units. I'll go with battle cry because I could use this. And in doing so, they get some of their health back, which is going to be useful for dealing with those barbarians. And because I got my science, I got archery last turn. I will go with bronze working actually, I think. Because I'm going to deal with Philip. That's my next goal. I'm going to deal with Philip, and to do that I'm going to need better warriors, better units than my warriors. There is a serious horde of barbarians there. Let's fortify until healed. Until I can get those guys over. I'm going to lose that unit. Just too many barbarians to deal with. There we go. Leveled him up for nothing. That's okay, it's only a warrior unit. I'm going to lose a lot more than just warriors over the course of this campaign, I imagine. So it's a little bit... I'm not too upset by this. So Spain's built their second city, Seville, which is good. That's just going to be extra land for me when I capture it. Is it? Sorry about that. Maybe my internet connection. You know, global internet's been kind of disrupted as a result of COVID. That might be it. It's probably my internet connection. I have been having all kinds of issues with my internet connection. Especially on a weekend, people are bored. Lots of Netflix going on right now. Oh, good. No, that's right. So that's the new every so often new barbarian tribes will form in areas where there's not too much where civilizations are not really settled. But that's okay. The city-state there will deal with those ones for me, or the Spanish. Now they also got eligible for promotions, so I'll give them the same promotion. And I'm about to get my granary in my capital, which is good.
Mysticism is the mistake of an accidental and individual symbol for a universal one.
I can't use those just yet because they're purple, and you need to have the link, the policy color needs to match with the policy itself. So those are for the bottom there. When I get a new government, which will be pretty soon, I'll be able to make use of those, but not right now. So early empire, that'll give me the new form of government. I finished my granary, so I can build. I'm going to build a trader and get started on the economic development of my nation. They can just skip a turn. They're right where I want them. Okay, a new envoy. Let's develop the relationship with Hattusa further. And that was an active field turn. It's good to see the barbarians keeping the Spanish busy, destroying their units for me. Just leave him there so we can keep an eye on what's going on.
Bronze is the mirror of the form,
Excellent.
iron of the mind.
Bronze working allows me to build barracks, which is particularly useful for the military, obviously. Um, let's knock off a couple of these older technologies that are quite quick to research now. Let's grab sailing. Especially since I have I've got a coastal city now, so Sailing will be good. Oops, another barbarian tribe has set up. Yeah, there we go. Like I said at the start, I never get the Great Bath Wonder. That's one of the first wonders that becomes available, and somebody else has done it on me. Oh, there's a barbarian tribe there, but I don't need to worry about that. That is the local tribe's problems. I'll have my trader in a second. I think next turn, that's one, yep. I'll have my trader in one turn, and then I can start churning out the military units again because I'm going to go to war with Spain, I think. Skip turn. Trader. This is fun. So I set a trade route, and I can choose at the moment to just trade with my own city, which adds a little bit of production and food, and it's pretty safe because there aren't any barbarians. Barbarians can easily capture caravans. Um, or I can try and trade with one of the local city-states, which improves my economy significantly with a big boost to the resource, to the money that comes in, which I will do. I'll actually set up a trade route with Preslav. And so now I can build spearmen, which are much stronger. So a warrior's melee strength is 20, a spearman's is 25. That it means quite a lot at this stage of the game. Um, you can send guards with the caravans, but it's not. I mean, I don't have that many guards to spare, so need to select carefully about where I want to send the caravans at the moment. Archers have a range strength of 25 and a melee strength of 15, which makes them a very useful early era unit. And I will. What I will do is build archers, I think. I'll build some archers. The other good thing about the traders is as they go, they build a little road along with them, which improves the speed of your units along the road. Just makes it all very much more civilized. Let's kill him, get the free experience. Oh, there are a lot of barbarians around. Yes, that's the internal question with Civilization, isn't it? Do people actually finish games? Um, I actually do tend to finish because there's a whole bunch of stuff, especially with the expansions, that really cuts in and becomes enjoyable in the later part of the game, like the natural disasters and global warming stuff. Dealing with that actually adds a different flavour to the modern game, which means it doesn't get dull like it can with some of the earlier Civilization games. Good on the barbarians for for attacking the Spanish side rather than me. It's a favour. Okay, so Ulaanbaatar now has its granary, which will help it grow. Um, what I'm going to build for here now is builders. Actually, no, I'm just going to pay for them up front. So builders allow you to improve the terrain around the cities, which is putting down farms, building mines, all of which actually helps the cities by increasing their production and food rates, which is really important. So I'm just going to build those outright. It's only $300 or gold. I've got 300 coin. There we go. Built that up front, and that then frees me up to set Ulaanbaatar to. I'm going to build a campus because campuses improve my science rate, which does help me get new scientific discoveries more quickly. And I want to be a cultured place. So I'll put the library here. I get a boost if I do so. So let's put the library there. Or the campus district as it's called. Also, I need builders if I want to harvest the horses that I've got there. They build a horse farm or stable, I think it is. And I need that if I am to start to get cavalry going. So, let's get my builder unit out there. How are these warriors going?
Vessels large may venture more, but little boats should keep near.
Okay, so I can now build boats, which is those boats aren't particularly useful, but it's a good start. Might as well do astrology while I'm there. I'll just rest them. Okay, so builder. So by building an improvement, there we go, I can build a pasture, which is what I need to harvest the horses, resources. And by doing so, my progress towards horseback riding, which is a critical development for the Mongols, just got boosted. There we go. Collect them horsies. Oh, I've met another civilization. So the Zulu being obviously the African civilization. One of the things I really like about Civilization 6 is as you meet new civilizations, again, you probably can't hear it because I've turned the music down, but as you discover new civilizations, the music that represents that civilization actually gets added to the track list that plays as you play. So you'll start off with just music from your own civilization, but you'll start to get a pretty deep, decent range of different music that plays. And once you meet the Australian civilization, you get Waltzing Matilda that plays as part of your track list, which is funny. Um, but yeah, some of the music's great. Like I love the music of the African and Asian nations. It's a really nice touch. Okay, so now that I've got that, a builder can only be used 3 times before they get kind of expired. So you need to be strategic about how you use them. What I will do with the rest of that builder unit is improve my capital city, which is pretty important, by building a mine, and I'll build a mine there. That's a mine on the salt farm. Salt. I'll mine some salt, which is a useful resource, and then I'll build a farm to help the town grow further. That's what I'll do. No, it does not. That's not even close to our favourite song. That's too modern. Waltzing Matilda is. There's serious debate. A lot of people want Waltzing Matilda to be our actual anthem. That's how much we love that song. Just checking on my caravan. See, it's built a nice little road there as it's been plugging along. Hi Britta, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining in. You should give Civilization a go. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a very cultural product. There we go, a mine. So now my civilization has salt. Yeah, Civilization 6 is very beginner friendly. On top of being quite easily laid out and makes sense once you get the hang of it, the tutorials and the way that the game actually introduces players to the game is very, very well written and very efficient. So this is definitely the 4X strategy game for beginners. Definitely. Okay, excellent. So I've got my archer unit. I'm ready now to go and attack Philip, or at least start the process. I'll need more than just one archer unit, but I'll start. I will build another unit of... I'll build a unit of spearmen because I'll need the melee as well. And there we go. So that gives a farm which improves the food and long-term housing of the area. And now my little village is starting to look like a civilized place. One of the great things about Civilization is just watching the place grow, because it all starts, with a tiny little dot of a town in the middle of the wilderness, and then starts to look very developed, and then electricity cuts in, and you get cities and kind of. Oh, there we go, early empire. You see yourself taming the wilds. as you play. Um, oh, that's right, I can't change government just yet. I'll get there. So I still don't want to change any of those, I don't think. I mean, they're all pretty useful abilities, but at the moment, I don't think I want to change what I've already got, so I'll just leave it. Um, craftsmanship will be, well, I'm already pretty much there, so let's do that. And I can set the governors now, which is another mechanic. Governors, as their name suggests, let you, I mean, they help manage the city, and each one brings into the city some pretty significant abilities, but you can only apply them to one city at a time. What I will do is I'm going to start by building this one particular governor, which you can actually apply to city-states to improve your relationship with them. And I will apply her to Valletta, which is the one that's down here. I reckon if I can get a good relationship going with these two southern city-states, they'd basically be mine. There are hero units, yes. They won't come into the game for quite a while yet, but you do get hero units across pretty much everything: science, the arts, military, naval, and they all have they all have significant benefits, but just not yet. You get those by basically building up your city, so they start to accumulate great people points. And I haven't got too many people points happening just yet. So, Britta, one of the things I think you'll really appreciate about Civilization is that you definitely don't need to win via military. In fact, military victories are pretty difficult with Civilization 6 compared to some of the others. Um, you can win via science development, via the cultural development of your civilization, but via the diplomatic development of your civilization. I think there's 7 different ways to actually win in Civilization, and military is one of them, and like I said, it's one of the more difficult ones. So I really appreciate that. I like strategy games that don't just rely on military power.
A physician without a knowledge of astrology has no right to call.
I'll have to check out Stellaris again. I haven't played it for a fair while. See if that DLC is available on the console version as well. Okay, so my next I'll research the wheel. I mean, the wheel's pretty important technology. It's again a military technology in this one, but so my trade route's finished. I just checked in on that, and as you can see, I've got a little dirt road, which is nice. That's bringing more money into my city. Unfortunately, there is a limit to how many trade routes you can manage at a time. At the moment, I've got one. There are things that you can do to add more, and yeah, that's for the Mongols especially. They get really strong benefits from going heavy on the trade. Unfortunately, I just had the I just I just said to Vrita you don't have to win via military, but then I picked a civilization where military is pretty important. So I'm going to be more aggressive in this game than I would normally be. Um, Usually I pick the more peaceful civilizations, but yeah, the Mongols are obviously an aggressive one, and all of their special abilities as a civilization are tuned towards military expansion and conquest, especially once I get horses going. No, the chariot's a little bit more believably powerful. I mean, it's a useful thing to use for sure, but yeah, it's not anywhere near as essential. Okay, so that unit of warriors is nice and healed up. I've got my spearman unit. I'm definitely ready to attack now. I will also build an encampment, which is where the barracks goes. And there are other benefits as well. It actually increases the gold and production of the area. So I will put the encampments somewhere where it's not going to be. Yes, if I don't deal with Phil, the religious nut job, he's going to convert my entire civilization to his religion, which I do not want. I want to be agnostic. Um, okay, so let's build that encampment there. There is going to be social distancing. I'm going to make sure none of the other civilizations come anywhere close to me. I need to get out of. There we go. And my spearman unit.
With the sun shining brightly, then dusk's mist falling, at every turn the scenery changes like magic.
So that's my civilization discovering another natural wonder. And I've made some history there. Now all of that happened because I've become so close to this city-state that they're not part of my empire, but it's completely open borders now, and they give me their additional benefits for being that close to the city-states. So you want to do that as much as possible if you can't capture them, which I'm not looking at doing. They become a really useful buffer against the other civilizations in the game too, because the other civilizations don't tend to be too aggressive towards the city-states, so you can kind of leave them there and just enjoy the benefits of having them. Um, okay, so get rid of all that. So the Spanish also have archers, which is a pain. I think they're a fairly well-developed military unit themselves, but I've got spearmen, so I should be right. And there we go, horseback riding, that's the big one for me. I get that, and I'm all set. The Spanish aren't going to know what hit them.
Skill without imagination is craftsmanship, and gives us many useful objects.
Ah, now that's useful. Because I'm not dealing with barbarians so much right now, the extra production towards ancient and classical era melee, anti-cavalry and ranged units is going to be very good for me building a lot of units quickly. So I'll change policy now. You can only change policy at certain points where you unlock new civics or you change government, so you need to take advantage of them. So drama and poetry I usually beeline to because I like having highly cultured civilizations, but that's quite a few turns away, so I better hold on that for now. I'll build military tradition, given that I do want a strong force in this game. Okay, so the spearmen are there, the warriors are there, and sorry, the archers are there, the warriors are there, and the spearmen are on their way. I'll start war once I'm in position. Getting the surprise attack is really important. Now, by attacking Spain, I'm going to ruin my relationship with the other civilization that I've discovered so far, which being the Zulu, but I can build that back over time if I don't want to also fight them. I also need to be careful if the Spanish has made friendly with the city-states, because if they have, those city-states will also go to war with me if I attack the Spanish. But I don't think they have. Okay, so I've got my campus now, my place of learning. Now Ulaanbaatar needs to contribute to the war effort. Yeah, heavy chariot actually makes sense. So let's build a chariot. Oh,
Jag är Kristina, Sveriges drottning, patron av konst och litteratur. Hälsar jag en annan kunskapsälskande person?
there we go. I met another civilization, the Swedish peoples, which is good because the Swedish people are not a problem basically. They're much friendlier, they're much more cultured. They go for a victory which doesn't impact on your civilization because they're all about the, as she says, the arts and letters and learning and science. So they're they can still beat you obviously, but if they do beat you, it's not by doing things to your civilization. Much easier to get along with. And straight away they want to start trading. Excellent. So they're off. I've got to give them luxury resource. And then, I think that's a luxury resource. And then for 30 turns, they'll give me money. Whatever. It helps build a relationship. And so there, there is their city. So they're not too far away either. Especially once I capture these cities. They'll be my neighbour. Yeah, see, now the Spanish guy's getting nervous. He's telling me to move my soldiers away. He's not happy with me massing my armies on his borders. Um, for now, I don't want to attack him. Mostly because I haven't quite got my forces in place yet. So I'll play nice for just a moment longer. And I will back off just a little bit. At least until I can get my chariot up there. How many turns? Oh, it's still 7 turns away from having the chariot. That's not good, but that's alright. Because I'm focusing on building soldiers right now, I'm pretty sure I'm outpacing the Spanish in terms of their military development, so it should be okay. There we go. I'm away from his borders. He'll be happy for now. And okay, so I now have horseback riding, and that's moved the entire world away from the classical era to the away from the ancient era to the classical era. So all of society is making progress thanks to my discoveries.
A man on a horse is spiritually as well as physically bigger than a man on foot.
And like I said, the Mongols are obviously very competent when it comes to horse riding, and there's an actual unique building that only the Mongols can construct, which I've unlocked thanks to my research into horseback riding, which is, I'm definitely going to need to take advantage of that. Okay. So I've already progressed quite far in currency, so I will continue to build that next, I think. That lets me build markets anyway to further flush my society with cash. And now I can build horsemen. Yes. Okay, so that seems to be a pretty good spot to leave the stream because it's been an hour and a half since I started playing this morning now, and my throat is shot. But I will come back and I'll probably play this next Sunday as well, continue it on because I'm enjoying this, streaming the development of my civilization. So thanks very much to everybody who tuned in, and we'll see you next week. Just a heads up, I mean, if you want to join in, we've got the next stream that I've got scheduled down is for Tuesday night, my time, where I'll be playing some retro games. And then later that week, Friday is the After Dark, where I play something fan servicey and nonsense. And then Saturday will be the next JRPG stream, which will be more of Blue Reflection. So thanks for everybody who joined in and watched. Thanks to everybody who watches the stream back later on playback. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good weekend for the rest of the weekend and enjoy the games.